Hello students and my dear friends, I'm Dr. Shalini Shukla and today is 18th of June 2020, Thursday. So let's start with the Economics Times analysis. In today's discussion, we are going to cover these articles. So let's start with article number 1 given on page number 1. Chinese bids in infra may face stricter scrutiny. Increasing border hostility may invite tighter scrutiny for bids by Chinese companies, basically for infrastructure projects in number of government schemes. We all are continuously discussing that now Indian government wants to decrease its dependency on Chinese companies or China. Aligned with these motives, now offers by Chinese companies for project implementation or supply of heavy machinery are likely to be vetted for more security issues, and it is most likely that major infrastructural projects, heavy machinery projects may slip from all Chinese firms. The government has made Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, or which is also called as Self-Reliant India Mission, a cornerstone for its economic stimulus package. So, under the slogan of going vocal for local, Indian government is promoting its domestic firms in all economic fronts, whether it is electronics, consumer durables, infrastructure projects, IT and telecommunication, or any other key areas. And the hostility over border issues, increasing border tensions, all have given an opportunity for India to utilize this situation for reducing its economic dependence on Chinese firm and making its domestic firm more strengthened. Among all infrastructural projects that are actually under bidding stage, the first project that could come under security is the Delhi Meerut Rapid Rail Transport System. And it is known that Shanghai Tunnel Engineering Limited was the L1 bidder in this process because bidding process has been completed and Shanghai Tunnel Engineering Limited has quoted the lowest bidder. So to lowest bidder we call it as L1. So it is most likely that now Shanghai Tunnel Engineering is going to face tougher scrutiny because of the security concern or apprehension developed by increasing border tension between these two countries. The RSS affiliated Swadeshi Jagran Manch even has called cancellation of this bid. However, at present government is not going to cancel this bid, but government is actually planning to tighten the scrutiny norms. And this Delhi Metro Rapid Rail Transport System is going to be implemented by NCR Transport Corporation under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So if this particular project is in news, so you can expect questions in your upcoming exams about this project or about NCR Transport Corporation. So you can go with more details for this NCR Transport Corporation and Delhi Metro Rapid Rail Transport System that is actually going to be implemented soon. And if we leave all these infrastructural projects, if you remember, under Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, government has also taken certain measures in order to reduce the presence of Chinese firm over key industries of India. And one important measure that government has taken was allowing only Indian companies to participate in tender up to rupees 200 crores. So any project which cost up to 200 crore or below 200 crore can invite tender only from Indian companies. No foreign companies, even no Chinese companies can participate in all those projects which cost up to 200 crore. So what will happen after this measure? This measure will encourage all local manufacturers in case of infrastructure, in case of heavy machinery to be the part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So the experts are saying that government could also simulate the same principle for infrastructure projects in order to reduce the presence of Chinese firm in heavy machinery segment. So there are high chances that Indian government is going to introduce the criteria that would enhance the eligibility of Indian companies for participating in heavy machinery and infrastructure related projects bidding process. However, this move by Indian government or Indian agency could be one of the reason for which India can further be dragged up to dispute settlement body of WTO, because direct intervention by government of India to favor Indian manufacturers or Indian companies violate the principle of WTO that says there should be no discrimination between the domestic and foreign companies in terms of operating level field. Now look at into the article number 2. India plans anti-dumping duty on Chinese chemical. So now Indian government is going to impose anti-dumping duty on any line imported from China. And what is the basic purpose behind this anti-dumping duty? Anti-dumping duty just to protect the domestic industry from cheap supplies of chemical from neighboring country. So before understanding this news, we must understand two things here. What is anti-dumping duty and what is non-market economy? There are two concepts which has been used in this news and are actually core of this news. So before understanding this news, let's understand what is anti-dumping duty. So whenever any country wants to stop or reduce the import from any other country or any trading partner because of any issue, there are two types of measure that a country can take. One is tariff barriers and other is non-tariff barriers. Under tariff barriers, country impose certain types of taxes or increase the extent of certain types of taxes on imported goods. Say if India want to reduce the import from China, so India has two options, either to impose tariff barriers or to impose non-tariff barrier. If India go with the tariff barriers, then India can increase the amount of custom duty, countervailing duty, anti-dumping duty. So all these are tax related barriers that India can impose on Chinese product. If India opt for non-tariff barriers, because tariff barriers are highly regulated by the norms of international organizations such as WTO. So maximum times if the country cannot go for tariff barriers, they opt for non-tariff barriers. Under non-tariff barriers, what happened? Country India will not increase any duty, any tax on imported products from China, but country India use quality measures, infrastructural measures, administrative measures to reduce the import from China. For example, if India do not want any particular product or any particular goods to reach out India from China, then what Indian government will do? Indian government will not provide port facility to that product, or if provide, then it provide after so many paperwork or through a cumbersome legal process. So what happened? The product of the Chinese companies for that particular product will not reach to the dock or the port. So the trader involved in international trading of these product may discourage to send their product, discourage to sell their product to Indian firms, and that automatically reduce the import of such particular product from Chinese companies. Same as quality standard norms, just India is using in order to reduce the import from China. Then India will say that your particular product is not up to the quality of Indian standard, so we are not going to buy from you, we are not going to accept this consignment. So all these are the non-tariff barriers. So anti-dumping duty is a protectionist tariff barriers that a domestic government imposed on foreign imports that it believes are priced below the fair market value. So if India think that the particular Chinese product A has been priced below the fair market value, then Indian government impose a tariff barrier in the form of anti-dumping duties on those product. So the cost of that product, the price of that product in Indian market will remain the higher or equivalent to the domestic products. Dumping is a process where one country dump its cheap products to another country. So reduce that dumping process, importing countries can impose anti-dumping duties. Now the question arises, how do we determine that this particular product is dumped? There is one criteria, and the very simple criteria is that if the price of a particular product is lower than the price of a same product in importing country. Say if a particular product is priced in Chinese market 10 rupees per unit, but the same product is imported to India at a cost of 8 rupees per unit. It simply means that that particular country wants to dump their product to India with the intention to destroy the Indian domestic market. If a particular product is priced 10 rupees in your country, then how it is possible that you are dumping it, or you are exporting it or importing it, that product at rupees 18 per unit cost? Therefore, in order to mitigate the effect of dumping process, India and other trading countries impose anti-dumping duties on Chinese products, so the ultimate market value of that dump product will be equal to the value of, or the market price of, the domestic product. Say if a particular China has dumped a product to India at rupees 1.8 per unit, and that same product cost in Indian market 12 rupees. So if a Chinese product costs 8 rupees and the Indian product with the same quality has 12 rupees per unit value. So what India will do? India will additionally levy plus 4 rupees as an anti-dumping duty in order to mitigate the effect of dumping process. So if India will impose 4 rupees on Chinese product as an anti-dumping duty, what will happen? The market price of that Chinese product will be equal to 12 rupees and domestic products. So there will be the fair competition among imported goods and domestically manufactured goods. That is why anti-dumping duty is used by trading partners. For protection, many countries impose stiff duties on products they believe are being dumped in their national market, undercutting local businesses and market. There is a difference between anti-dumping duty and countervailing duty. So now today's your assignment is you write the difference between anti-dumping duty and countervailing duty. Both duties are approximately same, but there is a minute difference between two, and you have to find out that difference, what is the difference, and write on comment section. So in a gist, anti-dumping duty is a protectionist tariff barriers that a domestic government impose on foreign products or foreign imports. Now come to this news. So now India is going to impose anti-dumping duty on Chinese chemical products. The Director General of Trade Remedies under the Commerce and Industry Ministry has recommended the imposition of provisional anti-dumping duty on product from China. Now one question arises, if any domestic country wants, can they impose anti-dumping duty on any product? No, there is a criteria, and if any domestic country is imposing anti-dumping duty on any foreign product, that company has to prove that this particular product is coming to their boundaries by dumping process. That domestic country has to prove that this particular product is dumped product. And where that country will prove? In WTO forum. Normally it happens when anti-dumping duty is invoked by the domestic country, the importing country will go to dispute resolution body of WTO and says that this particular anti-dumping duty is unfair, unjust. And there are number of cases going on in WTO dispute settlement body between India and China, where China is saying that India is unnecessarily imposing anti-dumping duty on the Chinese product and making it less competitive in their domestic market. So here DGTR has said that China will be treated as non-market economy, and if China is non-market economy, that allow the India to impose anti-dumping duty on cheap imports to protect its domestic industry. So if any domestic country wants to impose any sort of anti-dumping duty on imported product, that country has to clear or prove that particular importing country is non-market economy. Now here the question arises, what is non-market economy? So in a very simple term, non-market economy is an economy in which government intervention is required in order to allocate resources and determine prices. It means in that economy, resource allocation and price determination is not dependent on market dynamics. In non-market economy, government intervention is required. So if any economy is declared as non-market economy, then what will happen? How the domestic country get the right to impose anti-dumping duty on non-market economy? So if DGTR is treating India as non-market economy, or if any domestic country is treating any other importing country as non-market economy, that allow the trading partner country to use a special framework to determine whether that country's export are being sold at unfairly low prices, and if the domestic country found that yes, this is the case, that particular importing country is selling or is importing the product at a very low price or unfairly low price, then that domestic country gets the right to apply additional anti-dumping duties on those imports. So under WTO, if a domestic country is treating China as a non-market economy, then that particular domestic economy gets a right to impose additional dumping duties on the cheap imports from China. And Beijing has been continuously insisting that it should be treated as a market economy, and was till recently involved in a dispute at WTO claiming the status, which would curb the ability of its trading partner to retaliate with higher duties over Chinese cheap imports and trade disputes. So there are a number of cases going on in WTO for this anti-dumping duty and non-market economy. So for now, India is also going to impose anti-dumping duty on Chinese chemical. And there are high chances that China will again go to the World Trade Organization for claiming this status of market economy. Now, next article is KKR $100 million puts 09 in unicorn space. Integrated business planning solution provider, that is 09 Solutions, has raised approximately $100 billion from global investment firms KKR. I think you must have remembered the name of this KKR. KKR has recently invested in one Indian company. Name that company into the comment section. So now 09 Solution is going to raise the fund from KKR. KKR is a US headquarter company and had a very important and significant presence in India, and basically it provides planning and operational platforms for enterprises customers such as Walmart, Starbucks and Nestle. So the experts are saying that funding from KKR will help to accelerate the growth and increase the presence of India in global market. CEO of 09 Solutions said that we have 300 people here and will be hiring more people in next few months. The company, which employ around 500 people globally, will continue to hire on back of increased demand across verticals. And in India, 09 Solutions operate with Asian Paints, some Tata Group companies and Aditya Birla Group companies. So this is going to be the one of the very important investment by KKR in Indian firm. Now look at into the article number 4. Airtel acquires 10% stake in EdTech Latu Media. Bharti Airtel has acquired 10% stake in EdTech startup by Latu Media for undisclosed sum. The sum is not disclosed, but it has been said that Airtel has acquired 10% stake. And this joint venture, this strategic alliance is going to enable the Airtel to add EdTech to its premium digital content portfolio and give distribution scale to quality learning material from Latu Media, which operates under Latu Kids brand banner. So now Airtel is going to scale up its digital content portfolio and going to increase its average revenue per user. And because of this, Bharti Airtel shares close at 3.43% higher in BSE on Wednesday. So after this deal between Bharti Airtel and EdTech, we will see more digital content by Bharti Airtel for quality learning material. Now look at into the article number 5. RBI proposes new rules for housing finance companies. RBI is going to tougher the rules for HFCs, including lending and investment curve in group entities to prevent the conflict of interest. And in parallel, the central bank looks to change the definition of housing finance as well and has proposed to include the loans to the builder for construction of residential dwelling units, schools, hospitals within its purview, while excluding the loans against property from it. So now housing finance will also include the loan taken for construction of schools and hospitals. RBI added that minimum 50% of net assets of HFC should be housing finance. So now RBI has capped the net assets of HFCs up to 50% in housing finance only. It is also suggested that 4 years timeline to build an individual loan portfolio which would be at least 75% of the housing finance book. So now housing finance corporations or companies has to focus on housing financing only. Their net assets should constitute 50% from housing finance. Although the definition of housing finance has also been revised, it includes loan for hospitals and schools as well. In case of failure to maintain such ratio, if the housing finance corporation is not able to maintain the 50% of net assets from the housing finance, then such HFC would be treated as NBFC, investment and credit companies. So all those benefits which are actually provided to HFCs will not be granted to all such companies, those who are not able to maintain the minimum 50% of net assets from housing finance. So RBI has tightened the regulatory norms for HFCs. Now HFCs have to specifically focus on financing the housing projects rather than diverging their resources or their assets into some other infrastructure projects. Now look at into the article number 6. National Employment Policy cut put on fast track. Government of India has fast tracked the proposed National Employment Policy, which is actually aiming to provide jobs and formalization of country's 500 million workforce including migrant. So in order to ensure the job and social security, government is going to fast track the national employment policy. This policy will lay out the sectoral roadmap with the incentives for employment generation. So under this policy, companies will be incentivized if they develop, if they generate more employment. This was after the recommendation of Thawar Chand Gehlot led group of minister committee. Now Labour Minister Santosh Gangwar is asking the officials for looking the employment policy from the different perspective and keeping all the challenges thrown up by the pandemic into their mind. And the new employment policy will have the twin objective. One objective is to create the enabling environment for attracting new enterprises and industry so that employment can be generated, new employment opportunity can be generated. Second objective is to improve the skill set for the existing workforce to make it employable, because number of experts or agencies or research agencies generally have a notion that in India workforce is not skill up to the marks. Even the graduates are not employable at all. So under new employment policy, Government of India is focusing on two objectives: creating enabling environment as well as providing the skill set so that workforce should be able to hold up the jobs. So as per the senior government official, it is a priority and we will soon firm up the policy so that unemployment generated by pandemic can be turn up into opportunity. And if we talk about the unorganized labor workforce, so currently 90% of workforce in India is under unorganized segment. And by this new employment opportunity, Government of India will ensure social security to more workers. Why it is needed? COVID-19 pandemic has significantly slowed down the economic activities. Migrant workers have gone back to their home. So in order to make them return to their workplace, this type of policy is much needed. That is why government has fast tracked the formulation of new employment policy. Even the migration of labor from their workplace to their home state has also put more pressure on agriculture and national rural employment guarantee scheme, because under this scheme government has to provide them allowances. If government is not able to provide them employment opportunity, the government has to provide them allowances. That is why government wants to reduce the burden from agriculture, from national rural employment guarantee schemes, and also government wants to develop the skilled workforce for India. That is why the need of this employment policy is much in comparison to the previous time. And government has identified this need and fast tracked the process of new employment policy. All these are the references. If you like, please share and subscribe. Thank you.